Hi, I'm Melody.
I'm Candi.
And I'm Gabe.
And you're listening to
Quirks,
Bumps,
and Bruises. We are having a blast this morning celebrating Joy FM's 25th birthday. We wanted to go back a bit and talk to our Executive Vice President, Brian Sanders, who was the former general manager of Joy FM. You want to take a walk down memory lane with us?
Sure.
That'll be fun.
You really want to?
Are there like snack stations along the journey?
But this is going to be fun because with it being our 25th anniversary coming up very, very soon, we're wanting to go back and just talk to some people that have had a huge impact into this ministry. And I can't think of anyone that has any more of an impact into the history of Joy FM than you, Mr. Brian Sanders. And so you know this voice. You heard him on the air with us, and he is the Executive Vice President of Positive Alternative Radio now. But back in 2007, Brian, you were Joy FM's general manager.
Mm-hmm.
Wow. 15 years ago.
15 years ago, yeah.
They said I'd never make it.
Look at you now.
So I have this question. When you first walked in to the studios of Joy FM, we're in a different location now, but they're on Clemensville Road in Winston-Salem, North Carolina. What were your first thoughts? And be nice.
Potential. Like incredible potential. I grew up with this music. I cut my teeth on records by the Inspirations and the Kingsmen and the Happy Goodmans. Mm-hmm. And so when I walked in there and I saw a team that was passionate about this music, about serving Jesus, I saw potential. Like, this thing could be absolutely huge. Now, that isn't saying that like those who like came before me didn't do great things, because they did.
Yeah.
I'm just saying that I saw, and yet I still see incredible potential.
It was a relatively young staff too that was really loving this music.
Mm-hmm.
I agree. I think Candi was there.
And she was 12.
I know. I was trying to think back. I mean, yeah, I was very young.
How long have you been with Joy FM?
16 years. So I think soon to be 17, if I'm not mistaken. Yes, I was very young.
They said she'd never make it either. She is.
Honestly, I wanted us to talk about those few times, because there were a few times I didn't think I was going to make it.
And I think I was there for most of them. And in the background going, "Our Father, which art in heaven." Candy's going under.
I don't know if let me say this. I'm the type of leader that puts people on the bus. You try and put them in the right seats, and you point and you say, we're going to go in this direction. You give them all the tools that they need, and then you get out of the way. And that's simply all that I've done. I mean, let's be honest. I mean, I'm not there every day, but I just kind of try to put the right people on the bus. I mean, I remember talking to Melody one day about joining the morning show, and she's like, "I don't know if I could do that." And I'm like, "Really? You're great. You have a great voice. You have a great personality, and it comes across there." I remember Candi and I had war a few times. Let's just be honest. But we're both better because of it. And I'll say this: Joy FM is great because of it. And let me say this, and it wasn't over what it was over, y'all. And people are going to be like snoring in like 2 minutes. It isn't over what songs we played. It was over how those songs got played. And that's what's crazy. Mm-hmm. I mean, we were at a restaurant eating chicken tenders or something, and we're having war. And there's people sitting around us going, "Well, these poor people, they need to go to therapy over." I mean, it's just crazy.
They know Jesus. Yeah.
But here we are. And Gabe came along. He left. I mean, he fell from grace for a period. But yeah, then he came back. I mean, God has blessed us with folks. I remember George Yance and Glenn Payne talking from the Cathedral Quartet. They said that whenever somebody would leave, they would just be devastated, and they'd be like, "God, what's next?" And God would send another singer. And here I am 15 years into this, and I'm like, God always sends the right person.
Looking back over, because you were general manager from 2007 to what?
I think 2000, 87 till, I have no idea, maybe a year, year and a half, 2 years. And then I hired Daniel Britt to come in. That was a great hire. It's a great guy, great friend. Yeah. So for about 2 years, I was general manager.
For some reason, I was thinking that it was longer than that. I don't know why.
Daniel served under Brian for a little bit.
Yes.
As OEM, operations manager.
And then Brian didn't visit as frequently as you did before.
Right.
Before he handed
And
it
you
off
understand
to
this.
Daniel.
I never physically lived in Winston-Salem.
Right.
I always lived here in Virginia, and I would travel. It's like a 2-hour drive, and I would get up early in the morning. I'd drive. I'd get to the office about 9 o'clock.
Every week.
And I would leave 3:30 to 4, and I'd go home and loved it. I loved the staff. I loved the team. I mean, I loved doing it. It was great. I mean, I have no regrets at all. No regrets.
And I know you were really torn when that opportunity arose for you to leave as general manager and then move into the executive vice president position. You were kind of torn about leaving at first, weren't you?
Yes, because I still love the Joy FM team. You need to know that I love this team. They're like family. They laugh. They'll laugh with you. They'll be honest with you. They will make things better with you. They have a passion for Jesus. They want to do things right. And I love this music. I love the people who love this. I love the audience. There is no greater audience. There's no greater listener. There is no greater donor than the Joy FM listener.
That's right.
There's not, because they will come up. They will love on you. I remember I was at Joy FM for 1 week, and y'all announced me on the air. People brought coconut cake. People sent me boxes of candy. I was just blown away. I've never known an audience like that before.
Yeah.
And I was torn, but I wanted to stay. God wanted me to take the next step. And I really fought God on that. And I said, I can still have influence there. So here we are today.
So, Brian, knowing how much you love Southern gospel music and that it's 25 years of us being on the air, it's just unreal how fast that time has gone by. But could you maybe tell us some of the toughest maybe leadership choices that you've had to make during your time with Joy FM?
People that you love will leave, and it will break your heart. Give your heart time to heal. Trust God to send that next right person. And that's where I really leaned on, like George and Glenn, looking back. They didn't give up whenever Kirk Talley left. They hired Danny Funderburk. They didn't quit whenever Danny Funderburk left. They hired Ernie Haas. And they were devastated because things are clicking, things are growing, and then boom, the whole plan changes. 2, you're not always going to do everything that makes everybody happy. And you got to be okay with that. I'm not going to unpack that. Let me just say this. Sometimes we'll play a song that is great, and sometimes we'll pick a song that just bombs. Am I right, Candy?
You're right.
Okay. And people will call. We'll have, so let me just say that. So that's hard because you want to do everything right, but you don't learn by doing everything right. I'd say moving buildings was hard. I mean, we left one building, went to another building. My word, talk about, I don't do details. I do not. I fly at 30,000 feet.
Yeah, I love you, Brian, but you don't do details.
I don't.
You don't.
My wife says that if you plan a spaghetti dinner, Brian sees everybody around the table having a good time. She says that he doesn't see who buys the supplies, who cooks it, who serves it. And that's true. I'm a vision guy. Moving buildings and the 8,000 details as to ceiling tiles, trying to get furniture into a building. We just had this, last week or 2 here? I mean,
Did you find that? Oh, we didn't know you knew about that one.
Oh, I know about everything. Don't worry about that.
That was hilarious, by the way.
Well, should we move ceiling tiles? No, we're not going to move ceiling tiles to put in it. We're going to return the sofa. No.
Amen. Amen.
So,
Good call.
But I love him. I mean, he's great. So that's just a joke. But there's so
No, it's not.
It's okay.
Whenever you lose people, dear listeners who pass away, that's hard. So there you go. Candy. I hope that helped answer your
Oh,
question.
it does. It does. And I would love to ask maybe just a more fun kind of question, but of all the music that we play here at Joy FM, tell us your favorite song that we've ever played in all these 25 years.
Got to be a Kingsman song.
I'm sure of it.
Favorite song you've ever played at Joy FM? I'm going to shock you and say it is by Triumphant Quartet. The Great I Am Still Is.
Really?
That is one of Melody's favorite. Just the other day it came on and Melody said, turn that up, turn that up.
That song is a reminder in horrible times that everything changes, but he doesn't.
Yeah.
And we should play that song more often, Candy, but I don't want to get in an argument with you.
I said that too.
Yeah.
I think it was just yesterday.
It was, yeah.
And I said that still is my all-time favorite song. I love it. Yeah.
Let me tell you a few memories I have of Joy FM.
Well, we were going to definitely get to that because you're a
Yes.
great storyteller and nobody can tell it quite like you.
We are sitting in all this stuff happens during fundraiser. None of this stuff happens outside of a fundraiser. You need to know that, okay? And I think that's because of the enemy. That you're trying to fund the gospel. You are trying to raise money for the gospel. We're sitting there. We're just fundraising normal. All of a sudden, Melody turns and says, there's water coming out of these electrical sockets. Now stop and pause.
Water coming out of sockets.
Do you remember that, Melody?
Do you remember that?
Yes.
Oh, my word.
You don't mix water and electricity, y'all. It doesn't go well together. And I remember I looked over at Daniel and I looked at Melody and I said, water? And I looked over and there's literally water coming out of the electrical sockets.
Oh, my God.
My first thought is this place is possessed. Like, we got to get somebody out here to anoint this whole building with oil, and get this. But there was a problem with the plumbing and stuff had backed up.
Yeah.
And it was I mean, literally stuff had backed up. It was awful during a fundraiser. Second story I have, Melody, am I lying? Did that happen?
No, I looked over at one point and you could literally see the carpet color changing because the water was changing
the color was
as it was
changing.
moving toward me.
The color was changing. Let's just say that, okay?
Yeah.
Then
But we kept going though, didn't we, Brian? We just kept
we
going.
had a lot of candles burning, but we kept going.
Oh my.
Second story is this. We're sitting in the studio again. This is a whole different fundraiser, whole different year. And me and Daniel and Adam McCain worked for us at the time. And Adam goes, huh. Now, when you hear that, it's just kind of my curiosity. Like, well, I wonder what's going on. And Adam says, there's water dripping. My first thought is from, okay. And he looks up at the ceiling and there's water starts to pour out of the ceiling onto almost hitting the board, what we call the board. It's the master control board. And if water hits that, you're looking 25, 30, 40 grand. So he put some plastic over that. The AC unit in the old building and the drip tray was over that, and the AC unit was backing up and it was starting to pour out of the roof. We are on the air raising money. I'll never forget this. Next to us are about 3 repairmen on ladders. Y'all remember this?
I do.
Oh, yeah.
I do.
They're up in the ceiling on ladders, and we're on the air saying 888-569-9974. And there's people around us trying to fix air conditioners. They're in the ceiling. Y'all have no idea what lives we lead and how exciting they are.
For real.
Third memory I have. I'm sitting there one day. I don't remember who it was, but somebody came in the studio. They said, and I think it was Candy. And this is how Candy does things. She goes, I don't mean to alarm anybody.
But
Okay, yes. When you start out like that, how does your heart rate go? And especially from Candy, because to Candy, everything's a joke. Everything's funny. Everything's hilarious. So when she walks in and says, I don't mean to alarm anyone.
uh-oh.
Well, my first thought is, is the building on fire? Which actually happened during one fundraiser. We'll talk
True
about
story.
Yeah, that's yeah.
Candy goes, there's a snake in the building. Now, y'all, let me just tell you something. Snakes are of the devil. It's in the Bible.
Amen.
Okay.
Yes.
Yep.
Right.
And I said, there's a what? And y'all, I love Daniel Britt. I love him to death. But that man had certain fears.
So did his co-host.
And there was a snake had gotten into the production, into an office right near the control room. Y'all remember that?
Oh, yeah.
Did we ever get that, or did it go down inside like the drywall? Do y'all remember
Yeah,
that?
I don't think we
I
ever
think we
got
left it for the new tenants.
Yeah, we never found that little guy.
You ain't
We
little
never did.
anymore.
Yeah, we did not.
Here's the last story I'll tell you. We're on the air again during a fundraiser. Once again, this all happens during a fundraiser. We're in the studio. I think it's me, Melody, and Daniel in the studio. And somebody comes barreling into the studio and says, the station's on fire. Now, we're not saying, this station's on fire. You're not saying that. And so Daniel immediately runs, like he gets out there and runs. I don't run. I kind of waddle walk a little bit. You know what I'm saying? I don't even jog. You know, it's more of like a waddle log or something like that. You know, if it's on fire now, it'll be on fire when I get there. You know what I'm saying? So, there's a lot to burn. So, we get down to where the volunteers are, and Luann Prater's husband is sitting at a computer terminal taking pledges, and the computer catches on fire. And everybody's standing there looking at it. I mean, there's flame. I said, Adam McCain, unplug that and toss it outside. Looking back, that probably wasn't the wisest order I've ever given anybody. And he did. He reached down, he unplugged it, and him and Daniel picked up the table. They tossed it out. Fire department, we're on the air. 888-569-9974. There are 3 fire trucks in Joy FM's parking. Am I right, y'all?
Yes,
There are 3 fire trucks in our parked in our parking lot, building full of about 8 firemen. Am I right?
yes.
Oh, yeah.
And they stay there because Barbecue Joe's had brought lunch.
Amen.
Now we're feeding the firemen.
First things first.
Last story, and I will leave after this. During fundraiser, people will bring you food. They will bring chicken pie. I love those chicken pies. Those women in North Carolina bring. Barbecue Joe brings food and that kind of stuff. It is glorious, absolutely glorious. One fundraiser, we're sitting there, and a volunteer, I'm not going to name any names, came to us and had brought a cake.
Oh, I know.
Ring, ring.
Everybody at Joy FM had a slice of this cake. Nobody had taken a bite yet. We're all sitting there. And this volunteer sits down and she says, and I quote, I didn't know how it was going to turn out. I was on my phone and I was talking to my sister, and my phone fell into that batter, into the cake batter. And I just took my phone out, wiped it off, and kept making the cake. Y'all.
Uh-huh.
You should have seen everybody just take that piece of cake and just calmly set it to the side.
Mm-hmm. I do remember that.
Do you remember that?
I do.
Yes.
It's kind of like my Aunt Molly would bring her jelly olive mold, her little jello olive mold
Gross. Yeah.
to the family reunion. It's, how your mom would come up and say, now listen, don't eat her food. It'll kill you. That's kind of what that was. Y'all. Mm-hmm. So we have 100 stories. During fundraiser, we have all this food. The mailman would come by. He'd sit down and eat a plate.
Yeah.
Yep.
Candy's down there filling him up a plate.
Yeah.
And then the next day, he'd show up with a $100 gift for Joy FM. I told Candy, feed him again.
I know, right? Feed them and they will come.
We have seen God work. We have seen God meet needs. This station has built homes down in Haiti after a hurricane. This station has built homes for people through God's pit crew. People have come to know Christ. I remember whenever we had a person who didn't believe in God. He was an atheist, listened to a fundraiser. He came to know Christ.
Yeah.
The work that you do here to this team is not in vain. You are investing your lives well. And for me, it has been a tremendous honor and joy. And yet it still is to be involved with you and to serve you and to watch you fly high and to just do incredible things. So thank you. I mean, it's been a great 15 years. I'm hoping for 15 more, maybe more. We'll see if this body will hold out that long, but we'll see.
All of those stories, we have 100 more, like that, that things that I thought about.
Things I wish I could tell you is the time we did the NQC bus tour. We'll never do that again.
Oh, yeah. Yeah, we've learned some lessons along the way, too.
Listen to Candy laugh.
Yeah. Great
yes,
stories.
we do radio. We weren't so good with the bus tour thing.
No.
We shouldn't have done that. You know what I'm saying? No, we shouldn't have done that. We're sorry.
We tried, though. We tried to offer that experience.
We'll try. We might fall on our faces, but we'll try.
Yeah, we've done a lot of that,
How many apps have y'all downloaded for listeners at events?
Yeah. Tons.
That's great.
Mm-hmm.
And you hear from people all over the world listening to Joy FM.
I think being here, Candi and I especially have been here with you for the entire time. There's so many good memories, so many hilarious things, and this is a fun staff.
It is.
It's a staff that really loves each other. It's a staff that has each other's back and really loves the Lord and thrives by getting on the air and offering hope and encouragement and laughs each and every day. But one of the things I think for not only Joy FM, but just positive alternative radio as a whole is being able to keep going, keep functioning, and doing it, I feel like, very well during COVID. It has just been amazing that we have been able to stay on the air, that we've been able to continue, I think, to offer even more hope during that time. And God, I think, has blessed during COVID even more and abundantly than ever before. You've seen it, Brian, I'm sure on your end. You've seen it happen with all of our stations.
Yeah. For me, that was one of the toughest leadership tests of my life. And that is no exaggeration when I say that. There were days when I thought about resigning. Me and my wife seriously considered leaving because you couldn't make anybody happy. And I settled in my soul. The Lord called me to lead a staff that would create and deliver experiences that would inspire people to follow Jesus. And in a world that is still so very distracted, that is still very needed. And so during those 2 years of this COVID stuff, that became my hyper focus even more, is that I've got to help motivate the team to get them to do those things. And you guys did amazing. You did absolutely amazing. But you talk about every station took comments that you should talk about this, or yet you shouldn't talk about this, or you should talk about that, or else not talk about that. And this is what I resolved. We will talk about Jesus. We will talk about our lives. We're not going to talk about all that other stuff because there's enough of all that other stuff already out there. Our mission is talk about Jesus. Was that season easy? Oh, my word, no. And I think that's a book I'll write one day. We'll see. But that was hard. It was good. I learned some lessons. I learned that yes, I'm still an idiot, and yet I still have a lot to learn. But God was merciful and very, very gracious. So I'll say that.
Yeah.
And let me say this. You have the best team around you. And listen, you guys you're amazing. I mean that from the bottom of my heart. You're amazing. You continued to excel and soar whenever the world was severely crippled. So thank you very much.
Thank you.
Well, thank you for hanging out with us this morning. This has been
loved it.
Yeah,
yes, we could go on for hours of stories and fun things, but maybe part 2 will happen sometime. Yeah. But thank you, Brian, for being here on the Morning Joy Ride with us, and thank you for all you bring to Positive Alternative Radio and to Joy FM.
Thanks for listening to the Quirks, Bumps, and Bruises podcast with Melody, Candi, and Gabe. If you enjoyed the show, please take a moment to subscribe, rate, and share the podcast. You can learn more at joyfm.org.
Try Peas and Carrots podcast for more encouragement. Brian and Kayla share life from their piece of the vegetable patch. Expect a laugh, find common ground, and hear stories you can't wait to share. It's a podcast about doing life together, growing in Christ together, and learning to laugh no matter what comes your way. Search Peas and Carrots podcast wherever you listen to podcasts today.